Hey there, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. So, like I was talking about yesterday, Tesla, look at this thing. Look what it did today. My goodness, thing went up almost 60 bucks, about 8%. So really had a huge move and a very solid move, decent, not super high volume, but an increase in volume. So that was pretty good. So like I was talking about yesterday, this is a case of a setup. So here I'm looking at a 3-month chart daily. You have a setup where you have this W forming, and then it really didn't really turn out to be a W. But what happened was it came back up and it couldn't break over the middle of the W there, and then it put this little handle in. But the way it's set up, it's very interesting. It's set up like just below the 50-day moving average, and so if anyone was short in there, they're gonna just be propelled to like want to cover for a couple different reasons. They're gonna be propelled to cover from the point of view that they probably got pretty nervous here, right? Like if you were short out here and this came up and you're like, okay, all right, starts going down. Okay, cool. Well, they should have been a little nervous here, right? Because you didn't put a new low in, right? So that should make you a little nervous if you're short, but you probably hang on. Sometimes you don't know and you hang on. And so now what went up to here, like, oh, just lucky got out of it. But then it just started kind of holding here. And then once you come up here at this high, this would be where, like, if you were shorting this thing, you would cover, right? If you were just trading, if you swing trading and shorting and stuff. So it's quite a good setup. So that's this one. This is not financial advice. But that's one that you can kind of look for. You can look for W type shapes. You can look for just really, you know what it is. You kind of don't overthink the pattern, like don't I don't overthink the pattern, but I just kind of look at it and say, hey, look, you got an area of resistance here in this range. And, you have this thing coming up, and this is, it's kind of forming up to be an ascending type of triangle, maybe. But, you don't need to get into all that. You just, because very often, like, you won't be a specific pattern. But here you can just see it's like, hey, over this area here, boop, it didn't get to that low and it held and it came back up. And then here it made an advance, couldn't make it, but then it didn't go down much more. So it's really a nice setup. I know that it's funny because you look at, some people will comment about all the, reasons for it, the possible reasons for it. But it's kind of interesting, which all can be there. And of course, the technical is just as likely to be speculation as the fundamental side of it, right? In other words, if you have this move and then you're trying to say, well, what happened here, so I can try to look for this and find this again. You can look at, in a way, from my perspective, I'm more a technical kind of guy. It's like a losing position to try to speculate like, well, this was shorts covering, or this was people getting excited about the deliveries of the cars, or expectations about earnings, or this, or some plants coming out, some news, this news, that news, whatever. That stuff gets really kind of crazy. Now that stuff very often could contribute to moves like this because, if there were people short and they were like looking for bad deliveries or bad numbers or negative news on some legislation, then they might be like, I'm getting out of there. But I think, one of the overriding things is the technical setup. Like if you over here, let's say there's some positive catalyst today, and I don't know what it is. I'm not even looking at that, right? Let's just assume there's, go look at all the other YouTube channels. There's some positive catalyst. Okay, fine. But, the positive catalyst could have been anywhere. You could have had positive catalysts on these down days or wherever. It doesn't, trying to get some kind of correlation doesn't matter. The more realistic thing to look at, the more thing to look at that is something that you can kind of try to look for, from my perspective, is that, hey, this is a setup. You have a consolidation in an otherwise very strong stock that has had an uptrend. It's taking a little bit of a beating, taking a beating. It's consolidated under the 50, but it's also got signs that it's basically stabilized, right? It's not continuing to go down. So this is a very powerful setup. So you can take that knowledge and go, like, you can do scanning and kind of look for setups like that. And especially in stocks that you like. If you had stocks that were technically what you wanted, hey, you could go look for those types of setup. Now that you probably find they're probably on the rare side, right? Um, so that's the other thing. So, it may not occur that much. So yeah, so like here's like an example, XPEV, like in some ways it's similar, right? Oh, it came down and this, that, and but now, so here we have maybe a similar setup, but the only thing is this is definitely weaker. This one, you could say, well, there's no catalyst. Well, there may be no catalyst for this one. And technically this is a weaker chart. And technically this is also a, and fundamentally a less strong company, most likely. And then end phase, see this guy too. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Just the way that set up. So it's kind of like, when you're handed the setup, you kind of just take it. And, see, you kind of try. Nothing's ever 100%, right? Look at our Bitcoin doing up, or GameStop just down a little bit. Silver, kind of keep watching silver, but yeah, it's not doing anything. Because in SPY is just kind of hanging up there. But yeah, looking at the dollar, so we look at U up, which is the ETF that tracks dollar bullish going up. So the dollar went down a lot today. So that's kind of interesting. So that has the potential, dollar going down could support stocks, and it could support gold. So gold went up a little bit, but gold, has been gotten the crap kicked out of it. So gold is in a very, very bad position. Very bad position. So technically in a very bad position. So yeah. Yeah, and this is one, it's a really bad position. So, the dollar coming up a little bit or coming down a little bit isn't going to help it very much. So yeah, see the dollar here. So this is an example of like, how I've been talking about the dollar is kind of turning here on the weekly chart, long-term chart. But you can see how it's starting to go back down. If this week continues as it is, we're still kind of early in this week, but last week we had a big down bar. You can imagine like, okay, you could start pulling down. So you can have a thing here where this is, once again, this is a, this could be like, hey, it's going to start going up, but it's kind of coming, could be coming down to what maybe end up being a channel, or it could be, you had a downtrend over here, or, this thing could start breaking apart. And then what you might have is, you might have a situation where, you might just have a situation where this is, this whole area in here just becomes a little bit of a consolidation type period, depends what it does, I don't know. So it could just be a consolidation. And then, you would find out later if it breaks through this low here, right? So if it goes down there, boop, and down there. So if it goes down there, oh, wonderful drawing. Yeah. So that would be kind of the thing there. Let's look at what our interest rates did, 10-year yield. Yeah, let's see. Look on the daily. Yeah, it went down pretty good today, 3%. The yields went down 3%. So that probably helps the market really good too. I mean, I think it's definitely, so yeah, that's helping your NASDAQ and stuff. So that's good for that. So yeah, so I think that's about it, that's kind of, that really worked out really well. And did I buy any? No, I didn't buy any. I was busy working this morning, so I didn't take the time to buy. And let me even say this. Let's go to the daily. So if we look, here's today. And even here, it might have been, you really could have bought near the open. You could have bought near, like technically you should be above the high of the previous day, somewhere in there. So you would be looking to buy, maybe somewhere over here, and it opened up over here. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's pre-market. So maybe you could have got in pre-market, and then over here, yeah, our open was somewhere over here, right? Pretty quick over here. But so yeah, but even if you had bought like here, it might have been okay, if you if you bought right in there, because it really kept going up. And then so yeah, that worked out really good for whoever was long on that, got long on that thing. And then you're kind of in a nice position, because now the darn thing has gone up so much from wherever you bought, even if you were late on it. And now you're in a position where, you know, you want to hold now, because where's your resistance, where's your resistance here? So let's go see. I mean, there is resistance nearby for sure. You can just do like auto support, like, kind of, up in this area. So as you had the lows, this kind of consolidation up here and pull back. So that would be, it's coming up potential resistance, but I don't think I don't really think you'll hit resistance till you get out here up further. You'll run into this probably. So that's probably a good move. And then from the big picture, let's go, like, you're doing spreadsheets on the company. Now you're in a good situation, right? Now you're like, okay, this thing consolidated. You put a little more on here. If the trend returns to uptrend, then, it's a very nice setup. It's a very nice setup for continuing, So, well, if you have some Tesla and that worked out for you, congratulations. And I think that's it for this one. I'm going to try to keep it really short. All right.